Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. I would like to thank you all for joining us today. My name is Aparna, and I'll be hosting this webinar. Before we get started, please let me take a few minutes to introduce Payatu. Payatu is a research powered cybersecurity consulting firm with a decade long track record with a singular focus on cybersecurity. The foundation of Payatu rests upon three pillars: community and conferences, consulting and training, products. Community and conferences encompass NullCon, an international cybersecurity conference training and exhibition platform. Hardware.io is a hardware security focused conference along with other initiatives. Consulting and training focuses on thorough security assessments, which helps businesses to discover security threats and further provide training to strengthen network infrastructure. Lastly, we have four offerings: IoT Auditor, an IoT security testing and compliance platform; Exploity, an open source IoT security testing framework; Exploity Academy, a comprehensive online learning platform that empowers professionals with the knowledge and skills to excel in the field of cybersecurity, particularly in the context of securing IoT devices; CloudFirst, an automated and highly scalable first testing platform. Here is an overview of the various consulting assessments we are known for across the globe. Payatu has delivered many cyber talks and workshops in top security conferences that also include Black Hat and DEF CON. We take pride in the decade-long impact we have created by contributing to the cybersecurity community all around the world. As part of our ongoing commitment to fostering knowledge sharing and collaboration in the cybersecurity realm, Payatu has launched an exciting initiative, the Payatu WhatsApp community. The community aims to educate various organizations with industry specific cybersecurity content. That was all about Payatu. Today, Kshitij, Payatu's associate security consultant, will deliver a webinar on red teaming with Mythic C2. You can read all about him on this slide. Before I hand it over to Kshitij, I request you all to follow a few housekeeping tips. Please be on mute. If you have a question, you can write it in the chat box. We'll answer that at the end of the webinar. We will be releasing the recording of this webinar on our digital channels. So make sure you are following Payatu. If you are not currently following Payatu, please check the links provided in the chat box to find Payatu's digital channels. Without further ado, let's get started. Kshitij, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Aparna. Hello, guys. So myself, Kshitij Raj, and today we are going to focus on a topic. The webinar is on topic red teaming with Mythic C2. And as the name suggests, red teaming with Mythic C2, we are going to be learning more about Mythic C2 and how we can incorporate Mythic C2 in the red teaming. So uh, now let's get started with our agenda, like what we are going to see in this webinar. So first of all, we would understand the basic usage of C2 and how it can be helpful in the red teaming. Second thing, since we are as the choice of our command and control application is Mythic, so we are going to be focusing on Mythic. It is this webinar is focused mostly on the basics of basic of Mythic C2 agent, uh, understanding how the Mythics work basically. So let's get into that. And after that, there are few key takeaways that you will be learning after this webinar. Okay. So first is basically you will learn where you can use Mythic C2 in any Active Directory like pen test or any Active Directory pen testing. Second thing, you will learn other tools and techniques that will be required to use with Mythic C2. Okay. Third thing, Mythic's basically the C2 agents details of Mythic basically. You will learn more about it as we go forward. Okay. So this is about me. Okay. Uh, if you want to have connect with me uh, after the webinar, also you can connect me on my social handle at the Manitar Potter. So currently I am a part of Payatu. I work in a Payatu as a associate security consultant from last 2 years. And basically when it comes to certification, I have OSCP, CRTP, and I have worked on various bug bounty projects. So I rank around 500 when it comes to bug crowd, and I have been bug crowd MBB for last 3 quarters. And that's only a bit about me. So now let's get started with our webinar. So this is our lab prerequisite. Okay. First is the Mythic GitHub repo. This contains the basically the documentation for Mythic and basically a Kali or Linux based VM, because we are going to use Kali or some sort of Linux based VM to install Mythic, as it's easier there. Okay. Now let's move ahead. Okay. So to first understand the topic of red teaming with Mythic C2, we have to understand what is the red team. Okay. So if I go by the definition, basically red team is a full scope multi-layered attack simulation designed to measure how well a company, people and network applications and physical security control can withstand an attack from real life adversary. So basically, to simplify it, in red teaming, we act as an attacker, we act as an hacker, and we try to do whatever we can to basically get inside the system, hit the crown jewel of the company, and basically in the process of doing so, we have to be aware of the other teams like blue teams, like the SOC team. They will be monitoring us. So basically, you will have to act as an evil hacker who is basically trying to do whatever to do the data exfiltration. This is the basis of red teaming. Okay, when it comes to red teaming, originally every company has a different overview. Like sometimes they provide us insider threat scenario type of thing also. Okay, so during the red team engagement, our main focus, like everyone focus is basically to create different attack scenarios to basically basically get inside the company infrastructure. For example, there are multiple parts of the red teaming. You can see it starts from network, application security, network security, physical security. You can even include Android security here, because sometimes some of the Android endpoint can be vulnerable, that can provide us some information about the company or lead inside the company. So in the end, it's all about getting inside the company's infrastructure and to basically try to show the company like what kind of data we can exfiltrate, and basically try to, when it comes to Active Directory and red teaming, basically try to become a domain admin or control the domain controller. Okay. So now, what do we do in a red team? So basically, if we want to divide the red teaming in basics steps, so basically you can say it has been divided into 5 or 6 steps. Okay, first step is, as it shows, it's called reconnaissance, and as the name suggests, it's a recon step where, see, when you do a normal application recon, because since you have joined the webinar, I believe everyone is familiar with the web application security or something like that. So whenever you do the recon of, let's say, a web application, you are not going too deep. You are doing the subdomain enumeration. Let's say there is a web. You are going to hit the webback URL. You are going to do the JS enumeration. But when it comes to red teaming reconnaissance, it's very different. Okay. For example, let's say I'm doing a red team. So what we will do? We will basically start from basically gathering their ASN number, basically gathering their subsidiaries, everything about the company. We will gather their employees' name. We will gather their emails, phone numbers. We will also target the breach data present on the internet to see if we can use those emails or something. We will try to do subdomain enumeration, JS enumeration, wayback enumeration, every kind of enumeration out there to basically gather as much as data possible for the company before starting the red teaming. Okay. Even the physical reconnaissance, because let's say I'm targeting some server room of a company, then we will try to see how many guards are there. Are they using a public Wi-Fi? Like, can I connect to their Wi-Fi using some sort of a public username or password? So things like all of this thing is going to matter when it comes to a red team. Second part is physical security. So as I mentioned also, physical security is also part of a red team. In physical security, basically, red teamer try to get inside the building, or like try to see what they can achieve without be a part of a company. Okay, so here it is mentioned like physically mapping the building. Okay, bypassing and cloning RFID, biometrics, lock picking, Wi-Fi hijacking. All of this comes under physical security. The next point is social engineering. It is one of the major point of actual red teaming, because most of the client doesn't like physical security, to be honest, but they all prefer to do social engineering because it's easy. easier for a hacker also to target a company through a social engineering. Okay. So social engineering include everything like using different delivery mechanism that start from emails, calls, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything targeting the employees, doing phishing targeted for targeting employees, smishing, wishing, dumpster diving, planting network implants, fake service, but mostly focused on phishing, wishing, and smishing mostly. The next point in exploitation. So you might have been thinking why I'm explaining the red teaming, because we need to understand here where actually the mythic is going to play a role. Okay. So once we are inside a system, let's say after these three methods, okay, then the mythic will come play a role here. Mythic will come play a role here because we have a some sort of uh, you can say foothold inside their application or say some sort of machine. Now we will use the mythic to basically establish the proper communication channel to maintain. Let's say we have a bug and we got inside their network. Okay, but that bug can be fixed over a time. Okay, let's say their SOC team detected it. Okay, so mythic is going to come play a role here. We can deploy our payload here, or basically it will keep connecting with us after a given certain time. So yeah, in exploitation, basically what we do is payload delivery, execution, and stealthy command and control server communication. Okay. And what do I mean by stealthy? Basically, I will explain as we go, like how we can be stealthy when doing it. Next is persistence. Okay, persistence is basically a maintaining pro, uh, a proper foothold, like proper connection inside a network. Let's say we were a domain admin in a company as a hacker. Okay, but they fixed everything. Okay, so what we can do, we have to have some sort of method in our hand to maintain to again gain access to that level of exploitation basically. So there are a lot of attacks. If I want to name it, you might have heard about silver ticket attack, golden ticket attack. So they are some of the famous domain persistent attack when it comes to active directory in red teaming. Next is basically a post exploitation. Here basically we focused on data exfiltration. So now let us understand what is C2, and let's get dive directly into the C2 after this. Okay. So what is C2? C2 stands for basically command and control. It refers to any system tools and infrastructure that a red teamer use or a red team uses to maintain a communication and control over a compromised system during an engagement on a penetration test. So as I explained earlier also, basically C2 can help us maintain a proper communication and control during a red team inside a network. Okay. And why choose, like, see, there are a lot of C2 in the market that I will also name few of them after this. So there are lots of C2 in the market, but you have to choose a C2 that is good for you, that where you are more basically a C2 that is more flexible, where you can make changes according to the network. Because let's say there is a C2 that costs too much, like $1,500 to $2,000. So some people might be able to buy that, some people might be not. So it depends upon the personal choice of the people also to decide which C2 are they going to use. Okay. But mostly if we go by the definition, it depends on flexibility, agile, and resilient against the blue team, because blue team is going to defend against the red team. Now, these are some of the common C2. Cobalt Strike is one of the famous ones. It's cost a way lot. And Empire is a very old C2. It is highly signature. That's why it is not getting used too much these days, because it is little old and highly signature. And there are some other C2 like Mythic, Silver, Porsche C2, Merlin C2, Havoc. There is one another C2, Apple. It is mostly used for, it is focused on Mac OS. So these are some of the C2s basically. Now, see, we are going to talk about Mythic here mostly. Okay. Why I'm going to use Mythic here? One of the main reason is because Mythic is an open source C2. So basically, everybody can be able to use it without paying anything also. So that's why we are going to focus on Mythic here. One of the major reason. Okay. Now, why use Mythic? Why we are going to use Mythic? Uh, so some of the basic reason is basically it is a web GUI based framework. Okay, so you will be able to you let's say someone is not familiar with the command line that much, they can also use it. They can map different things, because when it comes to red teaming, you are going to find more than 1,000 system running in an active directory in some company. So it's easier to map it via Mythic, because it uses a GUI. Okay. Similarly, there are other feature also, like there are different level of users. So let's say our organization is using a C2, so they can, and there are multiple level of people working on them. So they can provide a different role to everyone, depending upon the requirement. Okay. Another is it incorporates Mitre attack framework. So you can even generate a report based on a Mitre attack framework. Okay. Another thing is data modeling, tracking, and analysis are the core aspect of the Mythic ability to basically improve the working for an you can say operator, or operator is basically a term for a user when it comes to Mythic C2. Okay, so Mythic C2 basically, from the beginning of creating a payload, Mythic tracks the specific command and control profile parameter used, and the command loaded into the payload and their version who created it, when and what. So everything will be logged. Everything we are going to do is going to log in the Mythic C2, and basically it's object friendly also. So now let's move on to Mythic C2 details. Okay. So we have already discussed some of the basics of Mythic C2. Okay. So one of the most important thing is it is highly Dockerized. Okay. So all of the agent and all of the different parts of the Mythic are contains in a different Docker, and they use other applications to basically send messages to each other. Okay. And it has a web-based front end React. They use the React to basically have a front end. Next is Mythic is a multiplayer command and control platform for red teaming operation. Another thing is it facilitates a plug and play architecture. What this means is basically, let's say there is a basically let's say there are number of agents for Mythic Z2, and you wanna go with the you don't wanna basically the agents are not actually present inside the Mythic C2. You have to install it independently, and you can remove it. Let's say you first started with some different agents, and then you don't like, so you can do it very easily. Like it's as easy as clicking on delete buttons. Okay. And Mythic project main goal is to provide quality of life improvement to operators, improve maintainability of agents, enable customization, and provide most robust data analytics capability to operators. Okay. Another thing is it uses a Golang server, GraphQL APIs, and WebSocket also, and it uses a PostgreSQL database, and to communicate between various Docker container, it uses an RabbitMQ. So to understand it betterly, let's see a Mythic architecture flow diagram. Okay. So as you can see, this is us. This is going to be us. Okay. We are going to be an operator with a browser using a basically Nginx reverse proxy will show this React Web UI. So we are going to be interacting firstly with the React Web API. Okay. Then it has Hasura GraphQL, Jupyter, and Hugo documentation where we can interact directly to Nginx reverse proxy. Okay. So React Web UI basically a Mythic web front end. Hasura GraphQL is basically used to for the API request. Another thing is Jupyter and Hugo documentation. Hugo documentation, as the name suggests, it is basically used for providing a proper documentation related to Mythic. Basically, let's say you are using any kind of basically any kind of, you can say, agents, it will have a proper documentation in Hugo. Okay. And there is a Jupyter. Jupyter is basically a compiler or a code editor, you can say. So one of the main reason we are learning Mythic is because here Jupyter will provide facilitate us to make changes in the Mythic code also. You can basically create different agents, different things directly, basically automate everything via Jupyter also. Okay. Now PostgreSQL and RabbitMQ is here also. PostgreSQL basically for the database, and RabbitMQ is used for a connection between this front end to the back to these Docker. And as I said, it is highly Dockerized. As you can see, every payload is going to have a different Docker. Okay, a C2 profile is something like, okay, I will explain what an agent and profile is as we go forward. Or let me explain it. So agent, so C2 profile is something that is used, that is going to be used in Mythic C2 for communication through the callback. Let's say I want to obtain a reverse cell uh, on my C2 through this system. Okay, then what I can use basically, C2 profile is, let's say we can use something like Discord, HTTP, if you want SMB. So these things are going to be ports or the application that will be used for the communication. And agent is basically a beacon, or you can say it is used to create a payload. It will contain lots of different commands you want to put in your payload. So you will understand more about it once I give a demo. Okay. Another is logging container. Everything is going to get logged. And how Gin Web Server plays a role here. Let's say you create a C2 profile container and there is a Gin Web Server. So let's say you receive a callback, you will receive a callback in the C2 profile container, and it will then interact via Gin server actually. Okay. Now, do you guys have any question or should we go further? Okay, let's move ahead. So let's first start with the Mythic installation. Okay. I'm not going to show the Mythic installation demo because the installation take a little bit of time and I already have Mythic installed on my system. Okay. So let's not get into much. Okay. You can basically go through here also. Okay. Here you will find the GitHub repo of Mythic. Now, if you even let's say search on this is another documentation. It's also related to Mythic. I'm sharing just in case if you need it. Okay. So now it contains everything, every step related to installation. Okay. So if you want to refer later, you can refer it later also. I've just shared the link for that thing. Now let's get back into the PPT. I will explain the installation first. So installation is basically easy. It can be installed in mere 3 commands. First is cloning the Mythic repo. We have used git clone github.com, it's feature Mythic. So basically clone the repo, get inside it. Okay. Now as you can see, as I told you, it's highly Dockerized. So we will need all kind of Docker application like Docker and everything. So you can run any of these 3 script. Basically, it depends upon the VM you are going to use. I'm going to use Kali, so I ran the Kali one. Okay, then basically run the sudo make to compile the binary. Okay. Now this command will be enough to do everything. It will download every Docker that is required. It will not download agent, neither it will download a C2. Why? Because as I said, it's a plug and play architecture, so you have to download it separately. Okay. So now let's get inside. Let's start with our demo. I believe everyone will be bored with the theory part. Okay. No, I'm already inside the Mythic folder. Okay. So Mythic is already running on my server. Okay, on my Kali VM, as you can see. And once you write the Mythic CLI status, it will show what systems are running and everything. Okay. So as you can see, Nginx, as I mentioned, its port. Okay. And here you can see the containers. Okay. Even let's say write a ifconfig. Okay. You will see all different kinds of Docker images and everything. Okay. Or even if you let's say go to the IP tables. Okay. Even if you go to the IP tables, you will find lots of rules where related to the Dockers. And as you can see, this basically shows what ports are they using and what ports are getting forwarded to use in this system directly also. Okay. So as you can see, Nginx running on 7443 port. Similarly, Hasura Graph has QL console, Similarly, Jupyter console, internal documentation, everything. Okay. Now now you will think like how they are maintaining everything. Like let's say GraphQL is going to have a different password. Okay. And every system has going to have a different crates and how we can make changes in there. Okay. So this is an environmental file. Okay. So they have allowed us to make a little bit of changes like changing the port and everything very easy just by using their environment variable. Okay, so it contains environment variable related to the all the things they are using mostly. Okay, as you can see they have a webhook, then here's the webhook, RabbitMQ data, similarly Postgres password and everything, Nginx, Mythic server, okay, Jupyter, Hasura, similarly everything you can make change here, restart it, and you will use that code. Okay, so now since we are going to use Mythic, let's focus on that. Here's the Mythic admin password and here's the Mythic username that you can use after installation. You can change it even. Okay, so I have already saved my password. Okay, so this is already installed actually. So you will find some payload. So see, these two are the agents and these two are the profiles. Okay. So how you can install agents and profiles. Okay. So let me show you how we can install. And one most interesting thing about Mythic, let's say just mention the just use this. Okay. Let's search on the internet like Mythic agents. Okay. And you will find a document telling you everything. As you can see, there are lots of different Mythic agent: Apollo, Poseidon, Apple, Ghost Rider, Bloodhound, like lots of number of agents. Similarly, you can search for the Mythic C2 profiles. Okay, lots of C2 profiles here. So what demo I'm going to show you? Okay, so first let's see what demo I am going to show. So before getting into the demo actually. Okay, so I am going to mostly focus on one is Apollo, other one is Athena. Okay, I will explain why I'm going to do it. Okay, before that, these are some of the Mythic components. Okay, I will be explaining everything once I go through the demo. Okay, and why I am going to use Apollo and Athena. Basically, Athena currently, as I have tested lots of C2 agent, Athena is least detectable by, as you can say, defenders or AVs out there, and Apollo is basically too friendly. Yeah, too friendly. Okay, and basically it's a Windows based, and I am also going to show a channel, a profile using basically a C2 profile Discord also, and to install any agent, or you can say C2 profile. It's very simple. You go to their documentation, and here's the command. And every command is simple: Mythic CLI install GitHub and their repo. That's it. Similarly, you can see here the HTTP profile also. It's as simple as that. Okay, sudo Mythic install and this one. Okay, so I will run again. Yeah. So as you can see, these are some of the containers I have. I have Apollo, Athena, Discord, and HTTP. Okay. Now let's get started with the demo. Okay. So one most interesting thing, as I told about this, is operation. Okay. Here you can have a fresh screen. See, I already have lots of payload tested before the webinar also, but I can have a fresh start by creating another. So it basically what basic usage is provided. Let's say you are working on some another project. Let's say you are working for a project called company X. Now some parallelly you want to work on a company called Y also. So you can make two different operation here. And see, I have already created test one. Let's create a webinar named webinar. Okay, and now let's create it. Okay, make it current. Okay. Now you will see there's it's basically a new session kind of thing. Okay. So I will explain uh, things like payload. So this is a payload tab, and this contains a agent and C2 services, C2 profiles basically. Okay. And here, these C2 profiles are also customizable. Okay. As you can see, you can change the port and everything. You will understand it once we go through the demo. So let's first start with getting one reverse cell here. Okay. Then I will start explaining everything. Okay. So let's first create a C2 payload. Generate a C2 payload. So let's start with the Windows one. WinExe is basically a exe format. Okay. Now this is one of the cool feature of the C2s. Here you can select what kind of command you want in your payload, or you can say beacon. Okay. Let's say I don't want upload command, ticket cache purge command. So I can basically select it. Oh, so it is removed from. These are the commands that going to be included in my payload. Okay. So let's start with UMI as we, okay. Now let me see what kind of, yeah. So first we are actually using Apollo agent. Okay. Yeah. So let's we start with the Apollo agent. Let's include cat, CP, okay, things like that. Okay. Now let's include ifconfig also. Okay. Mimicat, you can also use it. It can help you dump all the credentials. Okay. Similarly, PowerPick is a very interesting one. I will explain going forward. Okay. Okay. Now the only one thing. Who am I? Now let's put it here. Okay. As you can see, it will come here. Yeah. PowerPick. Who am I? And now let's create a C2 payload. Now, as I mentioned, the profile is something through which we will maintain a connectivity. Okay. So here profile, we are going to use an HTTP profile. Okay. It will require a callback host. Okay. Let's see what's our IP is. So my current IP I'm going to use is this one, ETH0. Let's make it HTTP for, okay. We can decrease the callback interval also. Yeah. Now, what these things are? Okay. First you have to understand the encryption type. Okay. So C2, this Apollo agent allow us to basically first not encrypt the payload, and second is it can also use it to encrypt AES in the AES format also. So let's first start with the AES format, and I will explain why it is important also. See, another thing is basically what type of request the payload will send is basically depend upon the get request, the query parameter, but you don't have to worry about this much. Basically, the first thing is this one and the port. Okay. Now let's create a payload. Let's name it Apollo 1. Yes. Now let's create a payload. Payload building takes a little bit of time. So when it is getting builded, we will do another thing. Okay. As you know, my current system is based on Windows 11, and Windows 11 AV is basically very, very secure Windows Defender. So, and see, we are not using any kind of bypass here. Just give me a second. Yeah. We are not using any kind of bypass here. Okay. So let's first turn off the real-time protection. So a micro defender is off. Okay. Once micro defender is off, now let's see if the payload is getting builded. Yeah. Payload is built. You can find your payload here. Just give me a second. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Now let's download the payload. You can use anything to basically, I will be using my own Windows host to basically show you. Okay. Now here we can put it. Okay. Now we have a payload here. Okay. Now let's run it. Now let's see if we have a callback or not. Yeah, we have a callback now, you see. Okay. Now you can execute any kind of command through it. Now let's see. Go to this one. This is basically a reverse connection kind of thing. If I have to talk in a layman term, now basically type a help. Okay. And you will get all the command details also here. Okay. That you included. Okay. PowerPick, like that you included in your payload creation. Okay. So let's first start with the who am I. Okay. As you can see, who am I? It is still running. Yeah, it is still running. It will provide us. Yeah, see, it came the. Now you can even add. You can even do cool features related to it. Okay. So as you can see, it is giving that this is laptop Chiti's impersonate ID, things like that. Okay. Now let's go to the IP config also. So basically, you can run any command here. One command that I actually like to show you is PowerPick. PowerPick. Okay. It so basically through PowerPick, you can simply do things like this. Basically, it uses a PowerShell command. Okay. And another command that I wanted to run is PS also. Yeah. So see, whenever you are creating something, whenever you are typing something, a task is getting created. Okay. As you can see, these are the 4 tasks. Okay. And if you get, you will find this value. Okay. If you, as you can see, the PS resulting in different. So it basically what it does, it is basically providing a very beautiful. It is providing you in a very beautiful and understandable way. And even let's go to a callback. You can use a graph here. Okay, it might not seem like a beneficial feature here, but once I have a 3-4 callback, it will look a little cool. Okay. Now see, we have a callback. Okay. Here you can search anything. Anything. Let's say I want to search. Let's say I have Cisco running on my laptop. So let's search. Okay, no. Let I might not have. Okay. So you can search about who am I also, types, task names, and everything. Okay, command. A command. Here you can change it basically, and then search it. Okay. Who am I? And you will get things like this. Similarly, files. Basically, you can host a file in Meeting and use it to share also credentials. Credentials is not showing here. Let's say if I ran Mimicache, then the all credentials were going to be present here. Similarly, key locks, artifacts, tokens. Let's say if I try to get some tokens here. Okay. Similarly, see, I ran the PS command. Okay. So PS command basically, as you can see, I ran the PS command actually. So it lists down the processes. And now you can see in processes, we are getting all kind of processes. Basically, I'm using Smart Screen, Chrome, SVC host, Chrome, Postgres, everything that I am using, it's getting listed down here. Okay. So this is what makes Mythic actually a little cool. Okay. You let's say if you have some sort of screenshot, it will get present here. Okay. And here is where's the just give me, yeah, here's the Mitra tag framework also. Okay, and through this you can create a report also, but we will be creating a report and everything later. Okay, so now I would like to show you one thing that is very important. Let's go to VirusTotal. Yeah, so see, since we are talking about using Mythic C2 in a red team, so you in a red team you can never send this payload. This will get detected. Here it only worked because I turned off my AV. Okay, so in the end we have to bypass. We have to bypass the AV in AV. Okay, but since this webinar is not about bypassing AV. Okay, not because malware development is a very different topic. But I will show you a few things that actually Mythic like it basically it basically lessen the detections. Basically, I put the payload. Okay, I already had. This was not the payload. Just give me a moment. Yeah, this was the payload that I created right now. Okay, it's checking hash. Okay, so basically it is AES encrypted. Now let's create another payload that was not AES encrypted at all. Generate new payload. Let's Windows. Okay, let's select it. Don't put it. P2. Now here, let's use none. No encryption. Let's create another one. Yeah. So as you can see, 31 detection is we are getting on here VirusTotal, and I will show you one interesting thing. Microsoft is basically detecting it is a Mythic agent, a Mythic agent, basically. So basically, it shows that our defender is too good. One thing. Another thing is all the C2 profiles are heavily signaturized. So going further, if you want to do red teaming using any kind of C2, okay, you will have to prepare for the bypasses, learn the malware development and everything. Now, now let's try to run VirusTotal on one that was not AES signatured, and let's see. Yeah, it will take some time. Let's give it a time. Okay. Now, what we are going to see next? Okay. As I told, I will be showing you a two kind of basically agents. So another agent that we are going to see here is Athena. And why I am going to use Athena here? Let's dive into it. So these are the some basic differentiation you can find on the internet. But why I am using Athena? First, it is less detectable. Second important thing why I am using Athena here, because it supports Discord connection services. So we are not going to use any kind of HTTP protocol or some sort of port. We are going to use here Discord. And why it is important to use third party services. Okay. So when you will learn about red teaming, you will learn that you a reverse connection. Basically, let's say when I try to connect, when I try to execute here, what will happen if let's say some sort of EDI will is installed here? What they will see like I am trying to connect to some sort of HTTP port, or like I am trying to connect, I am trying to connect one of my port to other port of some network. So it will detect basically some that kind of reverse connection. But let's say Discord. So Discord is basically not going to be banned in 95% of the companies. Okay. When it comes to security perspective. Okay. So similarly, there are other C2 profiles similar to this. One is Slack. Like lots of company uses a Slack also. So you guys have Slack also there. But I'm here going to use a Discord basically. Okay. Uh, and this unsignalized one is also showing 31. But if you will, let's say another, but in reality, the first one is not that much detectable actually if you use the old Windows. Okay. Now let's create a payload using Athena. Okay. So let's start again. Let's generate a new payload. Okay, Windows. Next, let's use Athena here. Okay, as I mentioned, it also have a lots of commands. So let some put useful command there. There anything xj env. I believe these command will be enough for a demo. Yeah. Now let's create it. Now, as you can see, it provides me two type of basically C2 profiles. So Discord. So see, to create a Discord profile, first one is bot token for sending message required. Second is channel ID required. So I'm going to explain everything, like how we can create a bot and everything. It is actually very easy. So first let's search Discord Mythic C2. And and now let's just go to the one step at one time. Yeah. So as you can see, I already tried to create one application here. So let's create one new application. Okay. Let's name it Webinar Test Live. Okay. Now let's open a notepad also. We will need it. Now, we don't need to change anything here. Now, next step is basically reset token. Let's do that. Go to the bot part. Reset token. We are basically in the need of token. Copy this token as it will be used. Okay. Now another thing we need is a channel ID. But before that, enable these as it will allow us to automate everything. Now provide an administrator here also. Now basically go to the OAuth part, this here. Okay. Oh, sorry. Didn't make the save changes. Yeah. Now go to the OAuth part. Just let me reset token again. Otherwise, yeah, OAuth token. So here we are in a need of bot with an administrator field base. So simply copy it, open it. Okay. Now basically what they will ask to add it into a server. Okay. So just give me a second. I have not created one new channel. So let's create a new channel here. Okay. So let's create a channel. Yes, server live. Okay. Now we have a new channel. Now let's open that this again. Okay. Now we have a two option. Test server live. So let's use the test server live. Authorize it. Okay. Verified. Now in the user, as you can see, uh, our bot is here. I have already tested via this also, and here it was same. Yes, you made it. Similarly, this is our bot, and our bot is added here. Now we need the channel ID, and there is one more step required, but I have already done this. Basically, go to the setting, and in advance you have to enable the developer mode. Okay, so I've already enabled the developer mode. So let's copy the channel ID also here. Okay. Now, basically, let's copy this token, put it here. Now copy the channel ID. No, it is done. Now let's create a payload. Athena 1. Payload creation takes time, guys. Okay. But there is one more thing we need to do. To have a callback, we need to edit the config. As you can see, here the bot token and channel ID required to have a proper communication here also. Okay. So just put the bot token token here also. And the channel ID. Yeah. Now we are good to go. Now let's see if our payload is ready. It will take a little bit of more time because compilation takes time. Now it's zipping. Now let's copy it. Let's first upload here also. Let's see. Is Athena less detected? First of all, it's zip. Okay. So it's going to be a little less detectable just by zipping the file. So you understand like zipping has a good effect here. Yeah, Athena 1.zip. Let it run. Now till then, let's copy it in our Windows. Extract it. Before running, let's see what result we have gotten. It's taking time. So basically, let's run Athena here. So here I ran it. Okay. Now let's see what we are getting in the Discord. I have already ran the Athena payload. So let's see the Discord result. Okay. Yeah. Let me refresh it. Yeah, let me see if we have an active callback here or not. Yeah, as you can see, I have received an active callback here. One is Azure PC. I don't know what it's referring. Yeah, okay. We are also getting a callback when we are running it on here. Okay. So you see how effective it is. But it is sandbox, as you know, sandbox. So it doesn't going to matter much. It's going to be already killed Even if you can try the who am I works. As you can see, I am getting lots of, these are not my desktop, but just by putting it on, putting it on VirusTotal, I'm getting a lot of callback. And as you can see, we are only detected in, as I told you, Microsoft Defender latest is a very good one. But as you can see, now it has decreased a lot. Okay. These are killed, so it is not going to matter much. But this is ours. Okay. So we can have a console view here. Okay. Let's run help again. As you can see, we have a lot of commands here also. Okay. So let's just run one command. Again, we got another one. I don't know. Is it Discord or what? So as you can see, I am getting the environment variables of, I am getting the environment variables here, as you can see, all the environment variable. But these are filled, I think. So let's console view. Let's use the NVA also. Let's see if we get something. No data to display, basically, as I told you. These okay, we did have something, man. We did have something. Okay, it might be some of some of my Windows function can be, I don't know for sure, but yeah, we have lots of cells here just by running the agents here. Okay. Now, as I told you, graph is very, very interesting. Okay. So let's see a graph layout. As you can see, now you can see we have a pretty much good graph layout. Okay. Now let's create a report also. So here you can create include Mitre framework. It might not be it might not seem a good feature, but when you do a red teaming, it makes your job a hell easier. Okay. So do you guys have a question, or should we move further with the another step, that is scripting? Okay. So in scripting, I'm going to use a Jupyter here to basically show you some of the features. Okay. So similarly, when it comes to Jupyter Lab, you can go basically cat.env. Okay. Look for Jupyter token, Mythic. So basically you can use that to log in, and I am already logged in. Okay. So see, whenever you are going use Mythic, you will, so these are already present in the Jupyter whenever you installed it. Okay. So what it does, so I will explain what it does. So let's see, this is a callback. Okay. This is authentication. So now you have a proper code for authentication. Okay, now you have a proper code for searching. Similarly, to create a C2 profile, you have a proper code for creating a C2 instances. So let's say in future, if you require to automate this thing, so it is basically going to make your job a very, very easy. Okay. Similarly, we have it for callbacks. As you can see, this is the authentication part. Okay, this is domain updation and something like that. Similarly, this is a command for Mimicache. So you can, through scripting, you can run a Mimicache command here also. Secular logon password. Okay. Similarly, you have a files, browsers, creating payloads. So this basically makes it easier and fun when it comes to the Mythic. Okay. So I only have just one small demo here. Okay. That is related to the C2 profile. Okay. So first, let's try to create a instances. So what is instances? See, just give me a second. HTTP. These are the instances. Okay. So right now we don't have any instances. Okay. Let's create one instance. First of all, username is there, but we will need a password. Okay. So let's have a password. Now what's our IP? iPhone is not going to work, but let's use this IP. Or I believe we can also use 127.10.1 also. Yeah, 7443. Okay. Now let's let's basically use an HTTP. So let's say webinar live instance. Okay. Now for the callback, use our ATH0 again. User agent. Good. Okay. Now let's run it. Oh, sorry, it won't work. A mistake from my side. First, I'm trying to run this, but it will not work. Let's go here. So now the Mythic is imported. Now it will verify the code. And as you can see, our login is working. Now the next step. Now the next step again. As you can see, success. Okay. Now let's go to the Mythic. Refresh it. HTTP. Saved instance. Okay. Now, as you can see, we have a webinar live instance here that contains the IP that we put down, and it also have a user agent. I am good. So you see, it's editable now. So that's what's makes it fun. That's the only thing. So this is the basics of all the demo I wanted to show when it comes to Mythic. Okay. Now let's get back to our PPT. PPT. Where's the PPT? Yeah. So I will, as you can see, if you search on the internet, you will find it like details related to every agents and everything. Similarly, I had a difference between Apollo and Athena prepare, so you can go through it also. Similarly, now as we have already gone through the Mythic C2 and its agent details, so what's next? Let's say if you want to learn, okay, so directly you cannot use a C2 payload. Okay, here I turned off my Windows API. That's why I was able to use it. But in a live environment, in a live red teaming, to to deliver a C2 payload, you will need to bypass EDR. So you are our red team target is either a good corporate, either a good laptop, and even a good system have a Windows Defender. Okay, and any small company will have some sort of EDR, I can guarantee. Okay, so you will have to bypass that, and it is very tough when it comes to using Mythic C2, to be honest. Okay, and see, there are other agents that I love using in Mythic C2. One is Bloodhound. Why I'm mentioning Bloodhound? Because C2 mostly used in basically red teaming during the AD pen testing. And basically, whenever we are inside AD, we always run Bloodhound to enumerate it. And basically, it has its own custom, you can say, custom agent for Bloodhound. So that's why I love it. Another one is Apple. It has an Apple agent also that is specific for Mac OS, and there are lots of research related to done that also. Okay, so let's connect again in future and learn more about if let's say if I have a next webinar, I'm going to show you guys a EDR bypasses also, or you can learn about it from the internet also. Like there are one course I want to mention when it comes to EDR bypasses, that is I believe Spectre Ops. You will search. So that's all from my side, guys. Let's start with the question. If you guys have any.
So the session is open for Q&A. If you guys have any questions, put it on the chat box. Kshitij will take up all your questions one by one. So, Kshitij, there are a few things like somebody mentioned that they need an installation link for the same.
Okay. Okay.
And
One is basically see create wrapper feature is basically a similar to you can say creating a payload. Okay. So it will be just a little bit complicated, but to create a wrapper, you can basically create just the way we created a no, I have not worked on Cobalt Strike. I did got to work on a Cobalt Strike in one of the client project, but haven't used that much. Okay. Yeah, I will share my social channel. So this is my Twitter link, I believe. You can connect me on LinkedIn also. It's not getting sent. Okay, sorry. Send to everyone in the meeting. Yeah. Another thing is some share link for EDR. Okay, I will try to just give me a second. I will share some of the EDR links also, or you can even go to the Paya2 website also. They have just added some new EDR by I believe EDR also. Just give me a second. I will try to provide you some of the links related to the EDR bypasses. So if you can directly search on the EDR bypasses GitHub also, like there are a lot of good things. Okay. But if you directly connect me on my social handle, I can provide you there. Like currently, I don't have a link prepared right away. But yeah, if you connect with me, I do have some done research related to the first. Uh, Aparna, you have also some question like when will be the recording available on YouTube?
So, guys, the recording would be available soon on our digital channels. We request you to follow our social links, which we have mentioned in the chat box. So, ensure that you are following Payatu on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. We have also a WhatsApp community exclusively for people who are interested in cybersecurity content. So, there also we would be posting this update. Kshitij, you can take up the next few questions.
To be honest, see, Cobalt Strike does have some capability when it comes to that, but I can guarantee you there is no C2 that can be used like directly to bypass any EDR or any AVI out there. For let's say CrowdStrike, if CrowdStrike is that easily bypassable, then there is no use of using a CrowdStrike in any company. So to bypass EDR, basically a lot of research is done, and I will say malware development is a part where like the new research is done every day, and new signatures or new methods are added in CrowdStrike and all kinds of EDR also every day to stop that bypass. Okay. Yeah, presentation will be shared, I believe, on the YouTube. You can basically create a lab using a Gode. Gode is an Active Directory lab. Okay. So go GitHub, you can go. Okay. You can set up your own Active Directory lab here. Okay. And use C2 to pen test it. About the physical red teaming, see, I have not done too much of physical red teaming. Most of the physical red teaming is done by my senior. But yeah, in company we do have some sort of like RFID cloning tools, and basically currently in the physical red teaming, we mostly target Wi-Fi. Okay, we try to use SSID attack, things like that, SSID hijacking attack, mostly things like that. Or most of the time, we try to clone the RFID, or you can say whatever ID they are using to get inside the gate. So, so we target some of the things like that. So that's all from my side, guys.
There is one more question now, Kshitij. I think somebody asked, do you have labs where we can practice?
Yeah, I've already showed now. Like this is a Gode lab. Okay, this is a open source GitHub lab. You can install it on the internet and see. Basically, you will have to set up on your lab. To be honest, you will have to have a Kali VM, and Gode is basically uses Windows VMs actually. So you will have to have a two set of VMs running on a single computer or different computer, depends upon you. And basically in the Kali VM, you can set up a Mythic, and from there you can practice the Gode lab. It will be very useful, I can guarantee, because Gode have some good vulnerabilities in their practice environment, and things like Mimikatz you can work. To be honest, see, there is no standard checklist for the red team activity. Okay, as I showed you, those steps are just basic steps. Okay, it all depends on what we are. Let's say, yeah, it is divided into physical red teaming, social engineering, but everything have different. For yeah, you can follow the CRTP checklist, but CRTP checklist only based on AD. And to be honest, red teaming does involve AD, but I can guarantee you it is eventually just a 25% part of red teaming. You will have to learn a lot about social engineering. You will have to learn very, like recon is, I believe, one of the most important part of red teaming. So whenever you are trying to get into the red teaming, do try to learn recon as much as possible. Like reconning basically a OSA end, like how you can target a single person also, like you how much data you can gather about them. Everything sometimes works in red teaming. Let me share my LinkedIn profile also. You can directly connect me on LinkedIn. It is much easier connecting on LinkedIn.
So Guy Chitich has posted his LinkedIn profile link in the chat box. Any queries regarding the topic, you can connect with him directly on his profile. Also, guys, if you like the webinar, please put a yes in the chat box. We would love to hear more from you on our social channels. If you like the session, just say yes in the chat box. All right. So there are so many yeses for you, Shidvich. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Such
you guys
an amazing
for
session.
response.
Such an amazing session by you, Shidvich. And thank you for being such wonderful participants and making the session even more great. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you guys.